As noted, we asked the letter writers to come on. That invitation is open, as it is to anybody who agrees with them. That said, we bring in Daniel Turner, founder of Power to the Future, who represents smaller energy producers, joining us from Alaska. Good to see you. Perhaps it's even colder there than it is here in Chicago, Daniel. Do these 41 have a point that the energy companies are now living pretty high on the hog?
No. Look, this is a constant rebuttal now of this administration and of Democrats in power, that whenever something is a problem resulting from their policies, they blame collusion. They blame bad practices. They've talked about big meat. The big meat producers are making meat prices rise. They've talked about oil, and Biden sent a letter to the FTC demanding to investigate the oil industry. And so, yes, prices are high, and that is good for energy companies, but that's bad for Americans. And we want what is good for Americans. And the reason why prices are high is because, as you said in your intro, this administration has made supply dwindle tremendously in the last year. So they're responsible for what's happening.
Well, I understand that you want what's good for America, but everybody's got to make a profit. I mean, I think I'm looking at Chevron right now. They're up 30% year to date, in the past year. The American public is paying that. Are you saying that there are things the Biden administration could do and Democrats in Congress could do that they're not to lower energy prices?
Absolutely. Look, go back just a couple of years, 2019, when we were producing more oil and gas than we had historically. And the rhetoric then was that the Trump administration was in the pocket of big oil. Their profits weren't nearly what they are now. And yet the oil and gas industry was extremely happy. They were employing more people than ever before. They were sending record revenue to the Treasury. So how was big oil this problem 2 years ago when prices were considerably lower, 40 to 50% lower than they are now? So again, this is just all pure political posturing. And in the process, Americans are suffering.
So a big part of the political posturing, or the politics of it, for lack of a better term, are progressives, liberals, call them whatever you want, Democrats, on the issue of trying to transfer America's energy independence dependence from fossil fuel to green fuel, renewables, et cetera. Take a listen to a few of the more notable names talking about that.
There is a drought hitting virtually every country on Earth. Newsflash, climate change is real.
The fossil fuel industry and the future of humanity are fundamentally incompatible.
The United States' leadership recognizes there is global warming.
You all have continued to promote fossil fuels despite knowing that promoting them means promoting environmental racism.
The evidence is undeniable that climate change threatens our economy.
Okay, so you guys are public enemy number one. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But and I guess what I'm getting at, is there anything that the oil industry, and for that matter, if the Biden administration let the oil industry do right now, that would actually lower prices?
Yes, they could take away, for example, the moratorium on fracking on federal land. The Department of Interior could continue its lease sales of federal land, something they were ordered by a federal judge several months ago to do. And the Secretary Deb Haaland just ignored it and said, no, we're not going to continue. They could have lease sales in the Gulf of Mexico, right? So again, they've put in place so many policies that have made producing oil and gas hard. And the consequence of that has caught up to them. And here we are a year later, after a cumulative effect of these policies, supply has dwindled, demand is increasing, and that's just the laws of economics. And then they look around and they say, well, what's the problem?
Let's take the people who wrote that letter as that they are sincerely concerned about these rising costs. What I'm hearing from you is that it doesn't seem as though there's a way for them to have both things, right? The lower cost that they want, and at the same time move on, as all of them have talked about in their sound bites, from fossil fuels.
No, not exactly. And this is the frustrating part of dealing with this ideology, is that it is not based in science or in engineering or in pure just physics, right? The amount of fossil fuels we need to create wind power, solar panels, to transport those things, most of which are manufactured in China. You mentioned in your intro, we're sending tankers of natural gas from Russia into Boston Harbor. How is that good for the environment, right? How come Elizabeth Warren doesn't ever look at Boston Harbor and say, forget about the foreign policy. Why are we supplying our country with Russian natural gas when just a couple hundred miles away in Pennsylvania and Ohio, we have an almost endless supply, 300 years of supply? So again, it's pure stupidity, Leland. It's pure stupidity.
The answer that you're giving is the reason that we're bringing it in from Boston is from Russia is because we don't have these pipelines. It's interesting. In the people who wrote this letter have a point in terms of how badly these cost increases are hurting America. 19% of Americans could not pay an energy bill in full. 29% chose to pay energy over other household necessities, things like going out in grocery shopping. As I'm reading this and hearing what you're saying, it seems as though it's your belief that these 41 and other progressives are prioritizing being anti-fossil fuel as more important than helping their constituents heat their homes affordably.
Absolutely. And this is the result of government action. And that's very important to understand, because you can look at other sectors of the economy where deliberate government action have changed markets. What's happened to Amazon since the pandemic has started? Right there, look at Jeff Bezos' personal wealth. That's government action. Government action shut down small businesses, told people to buy online. Look at the pharmaceutical industry. What is happening to their profits as we are telling people, forcing them to buy their product? Well, in the same sense, government action has punished my industry, the oil and gas industry.
I've always known you to be both fair and honest, which is one of the reasons we enjoy having you on, even if it's about an issue that you're calling out another side on. You think about the things about drilling on federal lands and fracking on federal lands, the pipelines and the like. Is there any reasonable policy explanation for doing those things other than to be punitive against the oil industry?
No, it's purely punitive. This is about ending our fossil fuel industry in America. Something Biden said very clearly he wanted to do during his campaign. Now, not when the cameras were on.
Yeah,
right? These were things he said in
what's
private.
puzzling to me is these are smart people. You say whatever you want about this White House. They've got smart people. If their desire is to end the fossil fuel industry, they're driving prices up. The fossil fuel industry is making more money than ever. They don't seem to be doing a very good job at it.
And look at what we do. Look at the stupidity of this administration on so many policies. Look at what we're doing today on Nord Stream 2, the pipeline that Vladimir Putin is trying to build from Russia into Germany. This administration is on the hill.
I just want to get back to this very specific issue. If their stated desire, and we can go back to it if we have to, of trying to end the fossil fuel industry and make the fossil fuel industry sort of that it's so painful to do business, you go out of business. The exact opposite's happening. They're making it painful, so prices are going up, and the fossil fuel industry is getting richer than ever.
Yeah, well, again, this is the power of government and the danger of when people who shouldn't have this power wield it unnecessarily.
Let me turn this around. It's a fascinating intellectual exercise. I'm going to put you on the spot. I know I am. But if you were to design policies to make the fossil fuel industry actually go out of business, from the administration's standpoint, what would they do that would do that?
Well, again, my belief is that the industry will never go out of business because what they are trying to supplant it with, which is wind and solar and renewables, are all made from fossil fuels. And in fact, they need more fossil fuels than if we just burn those fossil fuels, at least in terms of electricity or gasoline for our cars. So if they say, let's get rid of gas, we'll buy electric vehicles. Well, what is your electric vehicle made from? It's made from oil and gas and coal, right? So we're never going to get rid of fossil fuels in the immediate future because everything in our consumer economy is made from, produced with, manufactured, or in the case of our food, pesticides, fertilizers are all byproducts of fossil fuels. That's why I love this industry and why I celebrate it and defend it.
And you are a phenomenal spokesperson, an ambassador for it. We got to run, Daniel. It was always a good conversation. Thanks. I know you got an afternoon and an evening ahead of you in Alaska. Stay warm, and we'll see you back in the lower 48.
Thanks, Leland. Always a pleasure to be on your show.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for making time. Parents of 340,000 Chicago public school students